With all of the shenanigans of the real world, I think it's healthy to escape sometimes. And VR is an excellent tool to find a relaxing escape. So I'm very happy to present the latest installment of this video series, Relaxing VR Experiences Part 3. Horizon Beyond is a fantastical airship flying adventure. Sail above the clouds in a beautiful journey where you'll meet all kinds of creatures and gorgeous environments. It's an overall relaxing experience, but there are a couple of sudden surprises. You sail forward by pulling down on the big ring on your right, but thankfully there's a hook you can use to keep moving forward continually. If some hungry birds give you company, you can do some fishing to feed them. It's unfortunately short. I beat it in about 15 minutes, but it's fantastic and beautiful. It requires a room scale of 3 meters by 2 meters, and if you have enough room, then it's a must play. In Aircar, you get to pilot a flying car through a futuristic cityscape. There are very simple goals to aim for if you want something to do, like finding secret landing pads, but it's pretty much just a free-flying Zen experience. And for a Zen flying experience, it's exceptional, because the visuals are very good looking and the audio soundscape is incredibly beautiful. Even though you'll wish there was more to do, it's still a mesmerizing experience. When I first saw VR Puzzle Box on Steam, I initially didn't think there'd be much to it. But after playing it for a bit, I realized that it's more challenging than I first thought. Just by watching the footage, you can tell what you need to do. Make all the shapes fit to fill the entire board. But the thing that makes it tricky is that all of the pieces have 2 layers of depth to them. So each piece is actually multiple shapes depending on how you rotate and look at them. So while the premise of the game is simple, it's actually a very challenging puzzle. There's 3 different game modes. Single game mode is one random level with multiple difficulties. Story mode starts with easy levels and progresses to more challenging levels. And challenge mode is all about speed. The environments are really good looking and it features a soothing audio soundscape as well. MarineVerse Cup is a bare-bones sailing game that offers a solo mode, where you just guide a boat in a relaxing, never-ending ocean, and also a multiplayer racing mode. You can either register to race or race as a guest. This here is me expertly crashing into other boats in the race. It's my signature move. Unfortunately, there's currently no tutorial yet. In the meantime, you can learn the controls from the guides on their Steam forum. It still has a long way to go, but for a free, realistic VR sailing game, it's the only one of its kind. Land of Amara is a farming simulator inspired by Stardew Valley. This game is normally only available through Patreon, but the developer has released an early version of the game for free. The link to get it is in the video description below, as always. Even though this is an early version of the game, there's still a lot you can do in here. There's plenty of harvesting, farming, shopping, caretaking, and more. If you enjoy Stardew Valley, then this could entertain you for many hours. I highly recommend it. Explore Fushimi Inari is a detailed, realistically designed recreation of the renowned Japanese shrine. It's a really beautiful experience. The movement modes include sliding and teleporting. Explore the Kyoto mountainside at your own pace, and take pictures like you're actually visiting. The photos that you take are saved locally on your computer, if you want to check them out later. I really love experiences like this that let you feel like you're traveling and visiting places from around the world, and I hope we see more of these kinds of things in the future. The flat screen version of this is a free download on Steam. The VR version is $5 DLC. In Garden of the Sea, you have been given a small island cottage in a thriving magical world. When you start the game, there's no explicit tutorial or guide. The world is yours to explore and discover on your own. But if you observe, you'll quickly understand how things work. You'll first notice crafting recipes on pieces of paper. These show you which elements to mix together to create more complex objects for decorating or building. The raw elements for those recipes you'll either need to find in the wild, chop from trees, or grow yourself in your own custom-made garden. Thankfully, there's a place in your cottage to collect all the recipes because you'll find a lot of them. Besides growing a garden or constructing, you can also nurture the local wildlife. Here, I helped out a friendly bird by growing the food it was craving in my garden and feeding it. There's also Abode at your disposal to explore new areas and find new resources. There's the occasional puzzle or building challenge that you'll come across, but this game feels quite liberating as you're completely free to do whatever you want in this world. It was recently released in early access, so there's much more planned for the future, but at the price of $6, it's already a fantastic value. Tsuro, the Game of the Path, is a VR port of the mobile game by the same name. The gameplay is identical to the mobile game version. It's a path-building strategy game where each player starts at the edge of the playing field, and on each player's turn they place a path tile of their choosing. You never directly control your piece. It'll automatically follow any path it comes across, like a flowing river, and every path will affect every piece, so you can be quite devious in placing tiles that are sure to send your opponents off course. If your piece hits the edge of the board, then you're out of the game. The player with the final piece remaining wins the game. To start a single-player game, grab the color you want and choose where you'd like to start on the board. Then decide how many bot players you want by dragging pieces onto the difficulty levels. At first, there's only easy difficulty, but you unlock more as you play. This game is quite well made. It features a very relaxing atmosphere and sound design. For a puzzle game, it's quite beautiful. There's VR versus VR multiplayer, as well as crossplay between VR and the mobile version of the game, if you buy both. This Steam VR version is $8. Gadgeteer is the ultimate Rube Goldberg VR game come to life. It's available on both Steam and Oculus Quest. What you're seeing here is footage from the Quest version. You move yourself along by pushing and pulling with the grip buttons, and the default comfort vignette can be disabled. You can also hold grip and use the thumbstick to slide around. There are two modes of play, Puzzle and Sandbox. Puzzle mode is like a big campaign. The goal is to arrange objects and collisions to guide the ball from point A to point B. At first you start with simple dominoes, but more objects will be available to you as you progress. The entire puzzle campaign is cleverly designed to wind through a large room, so you follow a linear path throughout the room as you go from puzzle to puzzle. The puzzle campaign gets progressively more challenging, and there's a total of 60 levels, so it's a very large campaign. Sandbox mode is just as you would expect. You have an entire living space at your disposal with infinite supply of every object and gadget in your inventory. And if you enjoy tinkering in these kinds of Rube Goldberg games, then the sandbox mode could entertain you for a very long time. Gadgeteer is a fantastic puzzle game that's well made and addicting to play. The regular price is $15. Abode 2, logically, comes from the makers of Abode. The original Abode is a classic escape room game, and I was glad to hear that it was getting a sequel. The reason it belongs in the relaxing collection is because you can move at your own pace without any kind of countdown timer. It also features an optional soothing soundtrack, that is, once you get the record player going.
Oh my god. That's my favorite song. How did you know?
Investigate every corner and detail of this futuristic apartment to unveil all its secrets and restore power to the city. For movement, you can choose between sliding or teleporting. There is some old school puzzle mechanics in here, but also plenty of sci-fi logic and devices.
You found the tiny train. I remember Henry sitting hours painting these little things. Haha, what a nerd.
You're accompanied by a floating bot that can hold your inventory, give you hints, or even clean up the place if you've made a mess. The developer behind this game, Overflow, has a great reputation for exceptionally well-polished games, including Star Shelter, and this game is no exception. The atmosphere and puzzle interactions are top-notch. The price is $15, and you can beat it in a couple of hours. So it's a little pricey for the length, but it's an exceptional escape room, one of the very best. I've covered Fujii a lot on this channel, so you've likely heard me talk about it before. However, it absolutely belongs on this list as well. Fujii is a meditative puzzle journey about restoring balance to nature. The main story consists of 3 chapters in which you leave your home garden to solve puzzles and retrieve more resources. This game is all about interacting with the world around you. It's all very tactile and extremely immersive since everything is about engaging with the plants and animals directly, and not through menus or text. The 3 chapters outside your home are about puzzles and exploration, while the gameplay inside your home is all about growing and caring for plants. After you plant a seed, you need to store up water in your arms that you can then give to the plants. After some watering, the plants then need attention from you through your loving touch. After giving them some affection, they may need another splash of water or 2 before they're fully grown. Once plants are fully grown, they'll reward you with glowing orbs that are the currency of the game. Use the currency to buy more seeds or more pots to place around your home. I completed the 3 chapters in under 2 hours, and after that's done, the real sandbox content begins because your home becomes the ultimate plant life garden, as every type of seed and pot is unlocked for you. So you can indefinitely continue to grow plants and arrange your home however you like. The price is $15, and it's available on both Steam and Oculus Quest. Shadowpoint is an Oculus-exclusive puzzle game. In a visually minimal universe, you explore 2 different worlds. The Shadowpoint Observatory in our current world, as well as an alternate fantasy realm. And it's in the fantasy realm that you'll spend the majority of the game, as you're looking for someone who's become lost inside this realm. The story is driven by excellent voice acting, including narration by Sir Patrick Stewart.
Displacement was the key, leaving an object falling correctly, then returning from the right surface.
The core of the puzzle gameplay is about shadows and light. You're presented with a shape on a wall, and you need to match the shape of the shadow using objects that you find. Things start out very simply, but more and more puzzle mechanics will be added throughout the game. You'll eventually need to manage multiple sources of light, portals, changes in gravity, and even level design changes depending on your perspective. It's an extremely mind-bending journey that presents unique puzzle challenges. But even when I was confused by a puzzle, I had a great time because it's such a gorgeous game. I beat the game in 4.5 hours, but there were a handful of optional bonus puzzles that I couldn't solve. You can move via sliding or teleporting, and you can play standing or sitting. I enjoyed every minute of this game. The price is $20, and I highly recommend it. In Robinson the Journey, you live the life of a boy that has crash-landed on a dinosaur-filled planet, keeping company with a guardian bot and pet dinosaur.
She was a magnificent ship, wasn't she?
Other people must have got off as well.
The story begins 1 year into your life on the planet, and the three of you are going to go on an exploration adventure. The graphics are really amazing. You just need to turn up the resolution settings so it's not so blurry. The jungle is teeming with life and detail everywhere. It's some of the most lush environments I've ever seen in a VR game. The game's strengths are exploring and taking in the environments. There's only one movement speed, and that's very slow, so this is best enjoyed if you want to slowly take in the world around you and enjoy the scenery. There's the occasional power routing puzzle, plenty of obstacle course climbing, and there are a couple of dinosaur jump scares. But the overwhelming majority of the game is simple guided tasks and slow exploration. The interaction doesn't always feel cohesive. Sometimes there's tactile interaction like climbing a ladder, but most of the time you use your scanner or a sequence of buttons. For example, interacting with your dinosaur pet involves holding trigger and pressing one of the 4 directions on the touchpad. When interacting with an object to transport you, like a ladder or zip line, it'll force you to face forward to use the object. Maybe so the game would be more compatible with the PSVR version? I'm unsure, but it's weird whenever it happens. There's only sliding movement, with no comfort vignette settings. But be sure to turn off the setting that reminds you to recenter your view, because that one gets pretty annoying. If you want to use index controllers, you'll need to start the game with just the left controller on, then after you see the prompt, then turn on the right controller. Otherwise, your hands will be swapped. I beat the game in 3 hours, but if you're a completionist, you can try to scan every item and animal in the game, which would definitely add to the playtime. I bought this during one of the Steam sales for the cheap price of $6, and for that much, I enjoyed it. The regular price is $20, but it often goes on sale, so I recommend that you put this on your wish list and then wait for the next sale. Well, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. See ya!